Did you know that 100% of the people within the sound of my voice will die? Okay, we're talking about introductions in this video, and I once had a student who opened a speech with that line. They were discussing the process of old age and the importance of having a will, a DNR, and other end-of-life planning documents on file. But that opening statement caught everyone's attention. In this video, I'm going to talk about 4 things that should be in the introduction of every good speech. A good speech introduction must have an attention getter, reveal the topic, preview the main points, and establish your credibility. Let's talk about each function of the intro in detail. When you're catching the attention of the audience, it's good to do it right off the bat, right up front. You're never going to have more attention from the audience than you have right at the very beginning of the speech. As you know, attention spans are short. People start wandering off if you don't hook them right away. You can use humor in your speech introduction by telling a joke, especially if it's relevant to the topic. That helps. You can startle the audience with a startling fact or statistic, challenge their preconceived notions or conventional wisdom, or open with a quote from a famous person or anyone who's appropriate for your topic. There are a whole bunch of things you can do. I've had people start their speech by rapping, singing, yodeling, or talking in a very loud voice. Of course, all of those attention getters were relevant to, and made sense within, the context of the particular topics they were discussing. I recommend avoiding vague, uninspired rhetorical questions. I encourage brainstorming for more creative and interesting attention getters. Rhetorical questions often don't function to catch attention effectively. For example, if you're giving a speech on how to make a loaf of bread, it's not very interesting to start by asking, "How many of you have ever seen a loaf of bread?" Sure, technically, it's a rhetorical question, but it doesn't hook the audience or create any excitement. Revealing the topic is the second function of the introduction. This is simple. You don't want to hide the topic from the audience. It's not useful or productive to keep them guessing. Just let them know right up front. Third, you should preview the main points. Main point 1, main point 2, main point 3. The audience needs to know what you're going to say before you say it. Fourth, establish your credibility. The audience wants to know how you're an authority on the topic. If you have personal experience on the topic, like if your topic is bread, and your family has had a successful bakery for 5 generations, include that information right up front in the introduction. This establishes your credibility as an expert. For classroom speeches, in terms of credibility, it's usually enough to discuss the research you've done to put the speech together. However, we are also very interested in why you picked the topic that you picked. So if there's any story at all behind why you picked the topic you picked, tell us that story. Establish the connection between you and your topic. If audience members know the topic is genuinely interesting to you as a speaker, the audience will be more interested too. Here is one thing a speech introduction should not do. A good speech introduction never apologizes for itself. A common beginner mistake is to try to manage audience expectations by saying, "I'm sorry, I have a cold, and my voice is scratchy," or "I didn't have time to practice." Don't do that. Just dive into your speech confidently, smile, and go on. Remember, the audience wants you to succeed. They give you the benefit of the doubt, and if you don't mention that you have a scratchy voice, no one will notice it. They will only notice if you point it out. Here are those 4 functions of the intro one more time. A good speech introduction has an attention getter, reveals the topic, previews the main points, and establishes the speaker's credibility and connection to the topic. Okay, that's all for now. Thanks for listening, and happy speaking.